Hey familia, Miranda here, and welcome to another episode of First Viewing, where I share my thoughts and recommendations with you guys on films that I watched for the very first time. So I'm pretty excited about today's stack. There's some good ones in here, not too many that I did not like. So let's go on ahead and get right on into things. All right, so first up we have Seven Psychopaths. So I went into this one totally blind. I didn't even read on the back what the heck this movie was about. And let's just say it kind of revolves around the kidnapping of a dog. But basically, Colin Farrell, he's this kind of struggling writer. He's working on his script for Seven Psychopaths. Sam Rockwell is his best friend, and Christopher Walken basically teams up with him, and they are like these dog robbers, and so they take people's dogs, and then when they put up the signs that the dog's missing and they're offering a reward, they go and they collect the reward. Well, they happen to steal Woody Harrelson's dog, and he's this like crazy like psycho gangster whatever, and so then it's all just kind of this crazy chaos from there, him trying to get his dog back and stuff like that. And so they're all just kind of nuts and stuff. So like I said, I don't know, it's supposed to be like a dark comedy, but I honestly did not find myself laughing at this one at all. I mean, the action in here is solid, I give it that, but I just didn't find this to be very funny. And I mean, they all delivered pretty solid performances, but it wasn't anything like that wowed me, anything special or anything like that. So I don't honestly know that I would really watch this one again. Just really, because I went in blind and it just really wasn't what I was hoping, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I didn't find this one funny at all. It's a fun concept though. All right, so next up we got the Happy Time Murder. So I really enjoyed this one, you guys. I mean, Melissa McCarthy, she delivers, the comedic aspect very well. As usual, I mean, she's her usual self and everything. But basically, you have these puppets living among the human world, and so these are actually ex-partners, and so they actually team up together for a case because a series of murders start happening amongst these puppets who are part of this one TV show. And I mean, honestly, you guys, going into this, like, I kind of had an idea of what this was about, but at the same time, I was kind of surprised because it wasn't exactly what I was expecting. But I mean, it was some cheesy fun for sure, you guys, and definitely do not let the kiddos watch this one because it is pretty freaking raunchy. There's a lot of things that you would not expect to see in a puppet world, you guys. So I mean, there's one scene with him in particular where he was in the office with this puppet chick right here, and let's just say that was very interesting. It's a very interesting and just kind of dumb, but I really enjoyed this one. Got some good laughs from it and everything, and I don't know, just the whole puppet thing is different for sure. I mean, if you want to see puppets fluff flying everywhere, getting their heads blown off, stuff like that, like, I don't know, it's kind of corny in a way, but yeah, I mean, I definitely enjoyed this one. I would recommend it. Definitely, have this one in your collection and stuff, because it is just a fun time. And like I said, Melissa McCarthy, she was great in here, you guys. She definitely had some pretty funny moments and stuff like that. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. All right, so next one is Conviction. This one I enjoyed for the most part, you guys. I will say it was lacking a little something for me to really put it out there, but it's a really great film, you guys, based on a true story. It is very inspirational. It just didn't feel, though, as intense as I thought it was going to be, but it is. It's a very inspirational story. You basically have Sam Rockwell's character. He is convicted of murder, but he is innocent. And his sister, she basically goes above and beyond to prove his innocence. So I mean, in the process, she loses her husband. They split up, and her kids are like, you guys don't have time for us anymore, so we're gonna go live with dad and that kind of stuff. But she actually, she got her GED and she went through law school just so that she could go and prove his innocent. It took like 18 years, you guys. Which is some true dedication, and it's just an unbelievable story, to be honest, that she went that route and everything, just all the effort that she put in to go on and become his lawyer to prove his innocence and stuff like that. And after that, she never even practiced law. She only did it just to prove her brother's innocence, and it is a very inspirational story. What I kind of mean by that didn't really put it out there for me is the intensity of the case of trying to prove his innocence. Yeah, there were some setbacks and stuff like that, but I feel like it just kind of moved along like too rapidly. And so it's like, I feel like she had more outside help from like other people, because she did team up with like an organization and stuff like that. And I didn't feel like it was necessarily like her, like full on, the one who solved the case or anything like that. But it's still, like I said, a very inspirational story, to her have gone to, great lengths to prove her brother's innocence, which is very, very awesome and stuff. So it's an interesting case for sure. But I did enjoy this one overall. So it's a good one. All right, next one I have here is American Brawler. This one, you guys, I wanted to like more, but it just was missing. It just missed big time for me. It is a kind of MMA flick, but you don't really get much like fight time, I guess you could say. Like there's a couple of like main huge fights, and then there's like a couple of just kind of random fights thrown in there, but it's nothing I'd say compared to like Never Back Down or something, which I really, really enjoy that film. I was kind of hoping that would be more along those lines, but it just wasn't. But basically you have these two brothers here, and they take part in this like underground like MMA stuff, that is run by this like gangster dude or whatever. And basically one brother's paying off his debts, and the other brother, they're like, oh, well, if you don't fight, then, we're going to kill your brother kind of thing. That's kind of how that went. But I don't know. I mean, the two, like, couple main fights, they were pretty awesome. I mean, there's some, blood and everything, but it just, I don't know, it lacked just more of the whole, like, fight scene and everything. I mean, I kind of like the underground feel of it and whatnot, but it just, like I said, it needed some more, like, MMA in here than, what little was actually here. All right, so next is a Rogue Hostage. This one that I didn't really care much for it, you guys. There really wasn't anything going for it. Basically, Tyrese's character, he is this kind of former Marine turned social services worker. John Malkovich plays his stepfather, who's this congressman. And so the stepfather owns a series of stores, and they're about to open up a new store. And so everybody that is inside the store, like all the employees and a couple other, people, get held hostage by this, group of dudes who are basically kind of, I guess, out for revenge because of something, or like, I don't know, some issue that happened with, like, I think it was like their uncle or something like that, or it's like the father of one of them, uncle of the other two or something. I don't know, along those lines. But anywho, and so basically they just want him to admit or whatever, everything that he supposedly did. And so, yeah, they hold everybody hostage and stuff. And I suppose they put all these bombs and everything in the store. And so, I mean, it just, I don't know. There really wasn't much action happening in here. A couple, like, shootout type scenes and stuff like that, but other than that, it just, I don't know, the story here just kind of lacks something. It's not really something that we haven't seen before or anything like that. And I don't know, like Tyrese, his character just didn't seem like full on in it, so I don't know. And even John Malkovich's character in here, like, he just didn't really have a lot to say, I guess. Like, he seemed too much of like maybe a kind of nice guy in a way. But I don't know. I wasn't a fan of this one. All right, so now we got Mystery Men. And I gotta say, you guys, this is one that I'd heard like all the hype on, but I don't know, I just did not find myself like laughing my butt off. I mean, it's a fun flick for sure. The cast in here is awesome. I love all the just different, like, kind of fun, unique characters in here and everything. And I like the idea of the film. You have this like group of like superheroes or whatever. They're not necessarily great superheroes, but still, it's a fun storyline. It's very cheesy, pretty dumb and everything. But I'm sure that maybe for its time, this did a little bit better. I don't know, like when it first came out or something. I mean, I'm a huge Ben Stiller fan, but like I said, I just did not find myself laughing enough with this one. But I still, rather enjoyed it. Like I said, and all the different fun characters and everything in here, and just the pure cheesiness of it. But yeah, we got Mystery Men. All right, so next one I have is Pop Star. Never Stop, Never Stopping. This movie is absolutely ridiculous. It is funny as hell, you guys. Like, I seriously recommend this one. This is just one of those films where you can just like turn your brain off, watch it, and you will just have a freaking blast. You will be dying laughing watching this. It is just so freaking stupid, this movie. But I was seriously just laughing my butt off the whole entire time. Like, the songs in here literally make no sense at all, and they are just so dumb, you guys. You basically have this pop star dude, like, you know, he was, you know, at his, you know, big moment and stuff in his career and everything, but then he's made a couple of like flop songs, and it all just kind of went downhill from there, and it's kind of a matter of him trying to make a comeback and stuff like that. But seriously, you guys, just put it on and you're just gonna have a good time with it, because it is so freaking ridiculous, so dumb. But one can't help but laugh, especially at like the lyrics to some of these freaking songs. Like, oh my goodness. We'll say some of them are pretty raunchy, so beware. But this is just a freaking good time, you guys. So I can't recommend this one enough. This is just one that if you're looking one day just for a freaking good laugh, pop this one on and you'll be set to go. I like the way that they did this kind of like a video documentary and stuff, so that was a pretty kind of fun aspect to the film. You got hella cameos in here, just lots of celebrities popping up and everything, so I thought that was pretty fun. But yeah, definitely check this one out if you haven't, or if you just had it sitting on the shelf and weren't too sure. It's a good one, you guys, trust me. All right, so now we got Primal Fear. What a freaking excellent film. This was very intense. And basically it, like, honestly, it's not a true story, but it very well could have been, you guys, like, for real. That's just the kind of vibe that this film gave me. But Richard Gere and Edward Norton, especially, this being kind of like one of his like debut role or whatever, he was freaking amazing, you guys. Like, he was, oh my gosh. Like, all the performances in here were absolutely fantastic. Even Laura Linney, who was in here as the other, you know, attorney or whatever. But basically, Richard Gere takes on this kid's case, and basically he is charged with the murder of a Catholic archbishop, and he was this altar boy or whatever. And I mean, honestly, let's face it, if you're often a, you know, anybody in the Catholic Church, you know, priest, archbishop, whatever, I'm sure there's probably a reason behind it. But anywho, yeah, this was pretty wild, you guys. This is a very intense watch. It is one of those stories that you are just super invested into. But yeah, he took on his case without like charging him anything, you guys, because he seriously thought that this kid was innocent. And it's just the belief that he put into this kid and everything was just, it was crazy. And I mean, just, like I said, I was so freaking invested into the story. It was so interesting. It was just very intense, trying to come up with like all the evidence and all the events that occurred and everything. And Laura Linney's character, you know, going up against, you know, Richard Gere's character in here and everything, in court and everything. It was just wow, you guys. And just the way everything played out, like, you know, pretty much that obviously he is suffering from this like multiple personality disorder. And so, you know, that's kind of where the case kind of leads in the end. But yeah, I mean, sure, they kind of reveal that as like the twist or whatever, but just when you thought that that was it, there's still another twist. And I was kind of like just mind blown, because I thought seriously like that was over and everything, and it wasn't, you guys. And I was still kind of like in disbelief at the end. I was like, wow, that is like crazy, like spot on, perfect, like acting, stuff like that. Edward Norton was just absolutely phenomenal in here, you guys. So his performance is just awesome. So I definitely recommend this one. It is very interesting, and you will just be captured in by the story, you guys. Excellent directing, excellent storyline, excellent everything in here. Like, seriously, it's honestly like a perfect film, for real. All right, so moving on to Natural Born Killers. This one was crazy. Like, seriously, Woody Harrelson and Juliette Lewis together, they were the bomb. definitely would like to see them in, some more films together, but they had some like freaking amazing chemistry in here. And just the whole storyline of them just being like, seriously, they're these freaking like just psychopaths going out, just killing people for the hell of it. There's definitely like some good, like bloody scenes in here and everything. And I mean, just some of the, kind of unique ways that they were like killing off people and stuff like that. But yeah, it was just one kind of very messed up love story, you guys. It was insane. So yeah, if you're into that kind of stuff, I mean, like there's some good action in here, and the whole like scene there at the prison and everything, like kind of towards the end, that was pretty freaking crazy. But yeah, just the two of them going off together on this like killing spree. It was like a kind of love at first sight kind of thing, and from there on out it was just like bonkers. So definitely a good watch, you guys, if you're into those kind of films. But no, it is a pretty kind of crazy watch. All right, so next up is 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. And this one is actually the 4K. I just have it here in the Blu-ray slip. But anywho, this one is fantastic, you guys. Such a good watch. It's definitely a kind of heartbreaking story for sure. You have Frances McDormand, who, might I say, this may very well be like one of her best performances yet. She was quite the hoot in here, you guys. But she plays this mother who is looking for answers. Her daughter was abducted, raped, and killed like 7 months prior. And, obviously she lives in this little town where obviously the, police aren't really doing much to kind of, look into the case or, try and, find the person who did it or whatever. And you have the chief of police is Woody Harrelson, and then Sam Rockwell plays one of your like main kind of like, cop dudes or whatever. And he's kind of a dick for real. He's also kind of, racist and everything. And so they obviously do not get along at all. But the mom, she's desperate. She wants them to do their job. And so she pays to have these billboards filled that are just outside of town. And so obviously they say some things, and it definitely gets the town kind of going, like everybody in town. They're not really having it. And because obviously they like the, sheriff and everything. And, so, and the sheriff himself is actually also kind of going through some things and whatnot. But yeah, it is very tragic, you guys, because it's just a desperate mother who wants answers to her daughter's death and everything. And I mean, it truly is just kind of sad. I mean, you have this little town, they don't really have like too much like resources and everything. And so, I mean, I can kind of get, why they weren't doing necessarily that much, but, the mother, she wants them to do their job. And so that's kind of why she put the billboards up and everything and whatnot. And so, I mean, obviously the sheriff, he kind of like understands and everything and whatnot, and him not so much. But yeah, I don't know. All the performances in here were great, you guys, for real. Definitely some moments in here I didn't find myself like bawling my eyes out, but there were a couple moments that I definitely was kind of teary, especially like with the sheriff here. And then there's like one moment in the film after Sam Rockwell's character receives a letter, reads it. He actually ends up in the hospital alongside another person, and let's just say he started crying, and it kind of got to me, because in that moment I knew that he was, becoming this like, changed person or whatever. But yeah, and though they didn't really ever figure anything out, it's just still a very just kind of emotional film. So obviously, Frances McDormand's character, she's been through a lot through like with her husband. She has another son and everything, and so it's a very emotional kind of ride, you guys, for sure. Even though I didn't find myself, crying like I normally probably would be in a film like this, it was still very emotional, and it was very just heartbreaking story, you guys. Just, a mother just looking for answers. So, but it's an amazing watch. All right, Champions. This is another one too. I cannot recommend this one enough. This was such a very just heartwarming film. It is one of those films that if you're just in need of, being put into a good mood, if you're feeling kind of down, you just need a little pick-me-up film, definitely watch this one because it is such a very, very heartwarming film, you guys. Woody Harrelson's character, basically, he's this kind of hothead dude. He gets into this accident and basically he has to do community service. And so his community service is taking on this like kind of Special Olympics basketball team here at this like kind of, you know, rec center or whatever. And so the characters in here, you guys, like, oh my goodness, they are all such a hoot. All of them, they're all just unique and special and funny in their own way. And yeah, especially her right here, Constantino. She definitely knows how to kind of you know, pick up the team and just kind of, you know, get them going and stuff like that, because oftentimes they don't really want to pay attention to him or whatever. But yeah, he wasn't really as much of a hothead as I thought he was going to be. But I loved Woody Harrelson in here. His performance was absolutely fantastic, and just his chemistry, like with all of the other characters in here, all the basketball players and everything. It was awesome, you guys. I just thought they all worked so well together. And this film just seriously like had me smiling the whole time. So if you have not seen this one, definitely give it a watch because it is a good one, you guys. And you won't be sorry. It's so much fun, you guys. Except just all the characters are so unique, and just the whole storyline, the basketball concept of it. I mean, even just the basketball in here, like how they play and everything. It's a lot of fun, you guys. So definitely watch Champions. All right, next up is The Covenant. This one, you guys, is another one that I thoroughly enjoyed. It is a very, very inspirational and very kind of heartbreaking story. Basically, this has to do with the war in Afghanistan and the interpreters that basically risked their lives to help out, you know, the Americans and everything when it came to, you know, fighting off the Taliban and all of that. It is very, very intense. It's a very powerful film. It's not necessarily based on a true story, but it is kind of inspired by the relationships that interpreters had with, you know, their, you know, American war friends and stuff like that. And basically, like I said, a lot of them risked their lives, and in return, a lot of them actually got visas to come to America so that they could be safe and everything. But this was a very powerful story. The two here, Jake Gyllenhaal and his interpreter guy, they had some really amazing chemistry, and it was just such an inspirational story because basically Jake Gyllenhaal's character gets wounded, and his interpreter guy basically, like, oh my gosh, you guys, he goes above and beyond to save him, and he takes him through this crazy rugged terrain. It's just unbelievable. Like, there was one point when he was like just about to like give up and everything, and it was just wow. An inspiration, you guys, because he did everything in his power to make it back to the you know, the base and everything, so that he could be saved and stuff. But I mean, he went great lengths, and it was just unbelievable, you guys. And then, you know, he makes it back to America, finds out that the visas were never in place, and he literally just kind of goes off his rocker trying to, you know, get the answers, get these visas. Because he and his family went into hiding, obviously, because of the Taliban, because the Taliban found out that he had helped him and everything. And yeah, it was just kind of, he had to go into hiding and everything because it was just obviously all the killings and stuff from the Taliban. Like, you see that in here and everything. And it was just very, very heartbreaking, you guys. And so he went into hiding. Nobody can find him. So after he can't get these answers that he needs or whatever, he decides to go back to Afghanistan and risk his life to go and find his interpreter friend so that he can get him the visas and everything that he needs so he can come to America and, you know, come out of hiding and everything. And it's just a very, very powerful film, you guys. So I highly recommend this one, but it is a bit of a hard watch, considering obviously it does have to do with like the Taliban and all of that, and just, yeah, but very inspirational, very powerful. All right, next up is The Way Back. So it was a pretty solid watch. I mean, I didn't like find myself like, you know, laughing a lot with it. I mean, I'd heard that this was a pretty funny watch or whatever. It even says on here, bracingly fresh and funny. But I dug the storyline. I mean, you basically have this kid. He goes to this kind of beach cabin or whatever with his mom and boyfriend, you know, for part of the summer or whatever. And obviously he doesn't like the mom's boyfriend, who is played by Steve Carell. Might I say, I did not care for his character at all in here. He was annoying, and I did not like him at all. But this kid here, he's pretty timid, you know, he's the shy type. And so, I mean, it's a nice little kind of summer flick and coming of age and that kind of stuff. But he does befriend Sam Rockwell's character. And they just form this kind of interesting friendship. And he takes on a job at the water park where Sam Rockwell's character works. And let's just say that Sam Rockwell's character basically kind of helps him come out of his shell. I mean, sure, there are some fun moments in here and everything, and overall it's a solid watch. But it wasn't anything, you know, spectacular that I absolutely loved or whatever, but it was pretty decent. Little coming of age flick. Like I said, the summer setting and all that, water park, I mean, that's fun and everything. But definitely the best part was like his relationship with Sam Rockwell. And I don't know, just like the things they talked about. And like I said, Sam Rockwell just kind of helped him kind of come out more, be more spontaneous and all that. So you got that. Okay, so I finally did check out Schindler's List. Oh my goodness, you guys, this film, though I didn't find myself like bawling like crazy, there was definitely some moments in here that I was just like teary-eyed, and I was just on the verge of like breaking out insanely in tears. This is a very, very brutal watch. It's very, very heartbreaking. We all know about the Holocaust and just everything that happened over there. I mean, it's like one of the main things that you learn about, like in, you know, history class, social studies, whatever. But this film was absolutely amazing. The directing was fantastic. The storyline was extremely heartbreaking, but so like wonderfully done. I think that they hit all the matters like perfectly and in a delicate manner. And all the performances in here, especially you know, Liam Neeson, he was fantastic. And this story just, oh man, there's just so much going on here, so many just heartbreaking moments like that. It's just, it's brutal, you guys. It is so brutal. There was that moment where there was the little girl who's screaming goodbye Jews, but it's just the way that she was screaming it, it just like goes to show, like, I mean, she's only a little girl, and for her to be saying it like that, like, you know, that her parents are teaching her all these like bad ways and stuff, and it was just kind of heartbreaking. And just the way that people randomly like got shot and everything just because you didn't have an arm, or you were a woman who was smarter than any man or whatever. It was just very tragic. And then when they're like liquidating the ghetto and everything, just all the people that were massacred there, it was just unbelievable. It was so sad. That moment where the kids come out singing and they're all happy and everything, getting onto the trucks, waving goodbye, and the family is running after them. Like, oh my goodness, you guys, that just hit hard for sure. Very sad, because you know that was the last moment that they were going to see any of their family members. The people who landed on Schindler's List, like, that was a moment of hope. And honestly, as a viewer, you could feel that too. Like, you felt that hope that they were feeling. Like, you felt like you were in their shoes and like, oh my goodness, I'm being saved kind of thing. I mean, that was just kind of an intense moment, you know? Then there was the women's train mix up. That seriously was a freaking nail biting moment. Just their train being, you know, set off track and, you know, sent the wrong direction and whatnot. And as they're like in the showers, I'm like, no, this is not about to happen. It was just, like I said, it was just nail biting and stuff. Like, there's definitely moments in this film where your anxiety goes through the roof, because it's just unbelievable and just unbearable, even just watching certain things in this film, because it is so tragic. And I think one of the moments that really got to me was there towards the end, where it's over, everybody's free, and so they give him the ring, and he just kind of, you can see the look on his face, and he's like kind of like about to cry and everything. And it's like, blaming himself that, he could have done more. He could have sold his car, could have sold his gold pin to save more people. But it's just, his story is inspirational. And I mean, he saved so many people from being killed in the Holocaust and stuff, and in the concentration camps. Like, it's an inspirational story, but everything in this film was just brutal and heartbreaking. It's a very, very, like I said, well done film. So definitely, I mean, watch it because it's an important watch. It's a powerful watch, and I think everybody should see this film. But note that it is very, very harsh and just a very, very tragic story. All right, a couple more to go. So we got Pumpkinhead. Finally gave this one a watch. I had always heard good things on this one. I gotta say, you guys, I wasn't too impressed by this one. Like, it wasn't very gory. There wasn't really a super big, like, horror element to it. Like, I didn't find this scary at all. And Pumpkinhead himself, you guys, honestly looked a little goofy to me. He's a little cheesy looking, but I mean, I like the kind of like folklore aspect to it. Like, that part, played out well. But I wasn't necessarily like super huge on this one. I mean, it was okay for what it is. I'd probably watch it again, but it's not one that I would like, find myself frequently watching like over and over. One that I need to watch, come like spooky season or whatever. It was just like, okay. All right, last but not least, we have Fog City. This one I pretty much enjoyed. It definitely could have been better in parts, but basically you have these group of teens. They're staying over in this like, cabin or whatever, kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and basically this orange fog starts to come through that people supposedly think comes from this one girl's family's factory, that they make like all these chemicals and stuff there, whatever. So basically, there's this myth saying that, oh, it, kind of turns people crazy or whatever. So I think that they kind of get that in their head and really do kind of go crazy. There was some solid gore in here for sure. You have the main girl whose family owns the factory and stuff like that. And let's just say you don't want to mess with her. That is for sure. She kind of goes nuts on one chick, and they end up tying her up down in the basement and stuff. But obviously, she gets out and everything. And so it's just kind of this crazy mess, kind of turning on each other and all of that and whatnot. I will say though, the ending was kind of dumb. Like, what? You should have just left it the way it was. But the kind of twist of it, I thought was very, very just dumb. So feel bad for those people in here, but yeah, it was pretty solid. I do like the concept of the story and like the whole mysterious orange fog and all that, and supposedly turning people crazy and whatnot. But yeah, it was pretty solid overall. So that is everything that I watched. If you guys have seen any of these films, please do let me know your thoughts on them. I would love to know. Thank you so much for watching. Join the family if you have not, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.